I want to talk about the thing behind things, something that people don't typically address. It's so obvious, but it's invisible, and therefore, because it's invisible, people often neglect it. Um, in a conversation, for example, you can learn the proper way of engagement. Maybe you can learn catchphrases, maybe you can think of good questions to ask, but only the good and genuine conversations arrive when there are two individuals really interested in one another. That curiosity of connection, let's say, pulls the words from each other to cultivate that curiosity. And this is seen in many different aspects of life. So the same concept can be applied to, um, let's call it, uh, I guess we could say dancing. I'm going to try dancing. I'm not a dancer, so I don't know for sure, but you can learn all of the proper moves. Um, I don't know, the robot, salsa. I don't know dancing. But if you can't find the rhythm of that music and then move to it, there's always going to be something that's a little bit off. And so that rhythm is beneath, it's behind the moves, and the rhythm brings the moves out. That connection draws the words to create the container of that curious, dynamic relationship. So the same thing goes for we have a world of a very religious world sometimes, and the same thing happened there, where there was a spiritual teaching, and in order to hold that teaching, that truth, people created a book. However, it has now been misinterpreted so long, and people are still clinging to these ideas and thoughts, or not ideas and thoughts, they are clinging to the, I guess you could call it like the container of the thing. However, the true spirit of it, the substance of it, has long since disappeared. And so, for example, if I want to have a good conversation, what happens if I look at the conversation someone else has and try to replicate it completely? It's not going to work because the conversation needs to be dynamic. It's a come and go, it's a feel. Like when you're dancing or moving to the rhythm of a song you don't know where it's going to go. You're going to have to move into it. Um, and the same thing in that conversation, it's dynamic. You cannot copy a structure to have a genuine connection with someone. It's a feel into, and we find means of expression in order to sort of define and sculpture and bring form to the invisible. But we have to remember that those tools of language or writing or form, let's call it, those things are there only to serve as tools to what is beneath. However, we are living in a time sometimes where that thing beneath is forgotten, and instead we're just actors. We're well, sorry that I'm saying we're or we are. This is a way that I have lived, and because I have lived so strongly like this, I observed it. So when I was much younger, I was so terrible at getting along with other people. I wanted to be funny, and I remembered listening to what other people said that got people to laugh, and then in different situations, I would literally repeat it verbatim. But the energy wasn't the same. I didn't say it with a funny attitude. I just said it to try to get the results, and it does not work. It didn't work, of course. And I think because I was so far on the other end, I needed to realize there's a different way of being. And that way of being is finding connection to the invisible. So that is a very important lesson that I want to share. And I'm sure I'll think of more ways and more methods of expressing that, but it's something that has been on my mind for a very long time because sometimes it bothers me when I see others. I'm a little judgy here, so sorry, excuse that. I guess, I don't know, excuse it or not, but I'm a little judgy because sometimes I get frustrated when people hide behind ideologies or something like that, and they cling on to something that they deem is like a good thing, but they've forgotten the spirit of it. They forgot the thing that brought it to life, and now they're clinging to the dead words and containers, but the life of it has left. If that makes sense. I feel like I'll need to express this a lot more to properly get the idea out there. But yeah, I hope that made some sort of sense. And there's so many different parallels to this. To what I said is what I just explained of like that invisible that invisible undercurrent that is giving form and language, let's say. Like, I'm rambling a little, but when I am talking to you, there's a thought that I want to get out there. But the way that we operate obviously isn't like I can just take the thought and be like, put it over there. I have to use words to create a form that can then be grasped and understood. That thing right there that I explained, that is slightly difficult to explain because I'm explaining the thing that we cannot touch, that we cannot express because it evades captivity because of its nature. But that thing is paralleled in like all of life. And so I have been thinking about this a lot and thinking of ways to express that better and be able to share and observe how that, in all areas of life where that exists. Because we can try to learn like every little thing, but if we can fall into the spirit of things, things are easier. So I can try to learn all the mathematical equations, but if I'm able to really grasp the theoretical of the thing, then it'll be more natural and easy for me to comprehend it and work backwards and recreate those equations, so to speak. So, anyways, I could draw this out on and on. So, but real quick, just as a disclaimer, I want to say that I don't mean that any of those things are by any means like bad. Like equations, we need them. Language and like copy text, we need that to get a conversation started. It's really helpful to have like certain things you say to be able to have a good conversation. It's very helpful to maybe think of certain ways to express yourself better. And those are, but at the same time, make sure that you're, well, gosh, now it sounds electric. I'm just going to stop there because I can keep going with this idea. And I feel like it'll just go too long. So, was drawn out a little bit. But anyways, something that's been captured on my mind for a long time. And I never posted anything like this before, but if anyone does watch this and is entertained by it or has had similar thoughts, I would totally love to hear back or anything, because this is something that is really curious and seemingly important to me. So yeah, that's it. Peace out.